5 Nikola Tesla inventions, innovations, and concepts that we still use today. Nikola Tesla was a Serbian-American engineer who made many breakthroughs in the production, transmission, and application of electric power. As an inventor, he also pioneered many advances in radio, television, motors, and robotics. He was a brilliant but also very eccentric thinker, claiming that he had visions and displaying odd behavior in public, such as obsessions with personal hygiene and pigeons. Maybe the more enigmatic parts of his personality are what make him such an interesting subject of conspiracy theories. He's often portrayed as a mad genius for coming up with many futuristic designs and ideas that were way beyond his time. But he may just have been more genius than mad. Number 1. The death ray or particle beam. Tesla's creative mind would continue to spark new visions even late in his life. On his 78th birthday in 1934, Tesla claimed to the New York Times that he had come up with one of his most important inventions, a weapon that would cause armies of millions to drop dead in their tracks. Energy weapons shooting beams of particles seems like the stuff of science fiction, but apparently Tesla had been exploring concepts of focusing energy into a beam so potent that it could be used as a weapon to end all wars. The so-called weapon was dubbed by the media as the death ray, which Tesla would have preferred to call the peace ray. Tesla would go as far as publishing an essay on the topic titled The Art of Projecting Concentrated Non-Dispersive Energy Through the Natural Media. The process involved supercharging mercury particles at 48 times the speed of sound inside a vacuum chamber and shooting a high-velocity beam through the free air of such tremendous energy that it will bring down a fleet of 10,000 enemy airplanes at a distance of 250 miles. He would go on to offer the designs to Russia, Britain, and the US, but would never see his invention made or used. The Pentagon would go on to test and eventually use laser technology as part of its defensive arsenal, known as the ANSEC-3 laser weapon system, or XN-1 laws, and was reported to work perfectly against low-end asymmetric targets. Number 2. Remote control via radio control. In a world of high-speed and seamless connectivity, it's easy to forget that the humble radio wave is responsible for many of the technologies we enjoy today. In 1898, at an exhibition in Madison Square Garden, using a small radio transmitting control box, Tesla was able to maneuver a tiny ship about a pool of water and even flash its running lights on and off, all without any visible connection between the boat and the controller. In a bit of showmanship, Tesla would ask the crowd to participate by having them chant the direction they wanted the boat to head in. Tesla would then use those vocal cues and remotely control the boat in that direction, leaving the crowd enamored. The world moves slowly, and new truths are difficult to see, he would say about the crowd's reaction that day. Only a few people at the time would have known about the discovery and use of radio waves, but Tesla, yet again, was pushing the boundaries of technology and engineering with his tiny remote-controlled vessel, which many consider today a direct ancestor of the modern drone and a cornerstone moment for robotics. Number 3. The AC induction motor. Tesla had gone head-to-head time and time again in developing inventions and filing patents against other brilliant minds of his time. Among these was Galileo Ferraris, who beat Tesla to presenting his first induction motor in 1888. Contrary to popular belief, though, Tesla had developed his AC induction motor as early as 1885 and had filed his patents by 1887. Eventually, patents from both inventors would be licensed and purchased by George Westinghouse, who was developing an alternating current power system at that time. Tesla would work for the Westinghouse Company for a year as a consultant for their alternating current system project. The majority of effective practical motors we use today for industrial applications, as well as in hobbyist projects, domestic goods, and all manner of other professional equipment and consumer products, are AC motors, which offer a relatively efficient method of producing mechanical energy from a simple electrical input signal. Induction motors are favored due to their ruggedness and simplicity, and most users generally expect them to have a longer average life expectancy as a result. 90% of industrial motors today are induction motors, based on Tesla's early designs. Number 4. Wireless power transfer. Nikola Tesla wanted to create a way to supply power without the use of wires. He almost accomplished his goal when his experiment led him to the creation of the Tesla coil. It was the first system that could wirelessly transmit electricity. He experimented with transmitting power by inductive and capacitive coupling using spark-excited radio frequency resonant transformers, which produced high-voltage, high-frequency alternating currents. He was able to transfer power over short distances without connecting wires. He He theorized from these experiments that if he injected electric current into the Earth at just the right frequency, he could harness what he believed was the planet's own electrical charge and cause it to resonate at a frequency that would be amplified in standing waves that could be tapped anywhere on the planet to run devices or, through modulation, carry a signal. In 1901, work on the Wardenclyffe Tower, or Tesla Tower, began. The tower was an early experimental wireless transmission station designed by Tesla and backed by mogul J.P. Morgan, and was designed to transmit messages, telephone calls, and even facsimile images across the Atlantic to England and to ships at sea, based on Tesla's theories of using the Earth to conduct the signals. Tesla later decided to scale up the facility to include his ideas of wireless power transmission to fulfill his vision of a worldwide wireless system. J.P. Morgan refused to fund these changes and would eventually back out of his financial support of the project. The Wardenclyffe Tower would never operate, and its metal was eventually scrapped and recycled to partly recoup project expenses. Tesla may have failed to run and operate the Tesla Tower, but his resonant inductive coupling method is now widely used in electronics and is currently being applied to short-range wireless power systems. Number 5. Innovations in the use of alternate current. It's important to state that Nikola Tesla did not invent alternating current electricity. Those principles were discovered by scientist Michael Faraday nearly a century earlier, but Tesla did make huge improvements to the different systems that used alternating current. It was in the late 1880s that a conflict began brewing, known famously as the War of the Currents. Thomas Edison on one end, marketing his DC power distribution system, and on the other end was George Westinghouse, whom Tesla was currently working for, promoting his AC power system. Nikola Tesla developed the polyphase alternating current system of generators, motors, and transformers, and held 40 basic U.S. patents on the system, which George Westinghouse bought, determined to supply America with the Tesla system. Edison didn't want to lose his DC empire, and a bitter war ensued. DC would ultimately lose, not being able to produce and transmit power more than 2 miles from its generator stations. But that didn't stop Edison from lambasting Westinghouse, Tesla, and alternating current. He would go on to skew the opinion of the media and the public, claiming that alternating current was dangerous by associating it with electric chair executions and publicizing the deaths of some linemen. Meanwhile, Tesla would go on to develop powerful AC transformers to step up voltage being distributed from the generation plants, and then transformers to step them down once the current was distributed inside homes and businesses. Nearly a century after winning the War of the Currents, the innovations Tesla and Westinghouse made to the use of alternating current are still being used in the power systems all over the world today. Nikola Tesla was one of the most revolutionary inventors the world has ever known. Despite his groundbreaking innovations, he was overshadowed by his rivals, including Edison and Marconi. He was regarded as an eccentric scientist and then ridiculed by his contemporaries. "It seems that I have always been ahead of my time," he had once said of himself. His technological advancements transformed not only America, but the rest of the world. The legacy of the work Tesla left behind lives on to this day. What are your thoughts on Nikola Tesla's inventions? What else would you have liked to see him create? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you see tomorrow's exciting video by liking and subscribing to our channel. See you tomorrow.